Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Sippin' on Stories podcast. I'm Andy Corey, your host, and I'm so delighted that you're here. Happy Tuesday. Happy July. Happy week of 4th of July. I can currently hear fireworks going off in the background behind me, and I absolutely love it. One thing about me, 4th of July is one of my all-time favorite holidays. And I absolutely love fireworks. So I am really looking forward to this weekend and celebrating with my family. And my kids always love it. And it will just be a good time. So I hope that you all have a wonderful 4th. I actually tried really last minute to see if I could get an episode out for this week that kind of, went along with 4th of July. And unfortunately, I couldn't find one. I thought for a minute that I did, but it just didn't work out. So maybe next time. So today we have Melissa on the podcast. And it was actually very coincidental, if you will. I went to the thrift store with my kids, a couple of my kids. And if you've listened to past episodes, I can't remember which one I said it on, but I talked about how I kept going into the thrift stores and looking through their CD selection and how I had a problem with it for a minute, just constantly looking for more CDs. Anyway, I went with my daughter and I was like, look, this is where I found so many of your CDs. And so she wanted to go through and look at them with me. And we almost left with nothing. And then she was like, Mom, look. And she pulls out The Sound of Music. And I love The Sound of Music. It was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I have shown my own kids, I think a couple of times, but maybe they were still too young. I really need to do it again. But she knows how much I loved it. So she pulled out The Sound of Music, and I was like, you have found a gem in here. So we bought The Sound of Music CD. And then that night, I recorded this episode with Melissa, who is going to tell us the story of becoming a nun. And I just thought it was, kind of fun. I was like, what are the chances that I would find a Sound of Music CD the same day? So here is Melissa for our story today. I hope you have a drink or a treat, something to enjoy while listening to this episode. We have Melissa with us today for the podcast. I like to ask all my guests what their favorite drink is. So, Melissa, what would yours be?
I like any of the waters from Hip Sip.
Like the specialty. What's your favorite thing?
I'm trying to think of the name that I've drank all of them, like the protein waters and then just like the hydration ones. So I like any of those. I don't have any in particular. They're just all really good.
I've tried the Sheena, which is like raspberry or something. I don't remember what all was in it, but it was good.
Yeah. And then there's like the groupie. That's really good. I'm trying to think of, and then there's one for the summer, but I can't remember the name of it. And they actually just moved on the west side of town. They're at the car wash.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I try to go like every other day to support them.
We're doing it for them, not for us, right? It's for them. Yeah, it makes you feel a little better. What did you think of the protein waters? I was scared to try those.
No, I love them.
Oh, good.
And I've been having them ever since I was pregnant with my third, I think. It does something, it like helps quench my thirst a lot more. And then it's guilt-free drinking because it's not very high in sugars. Like there's not a lot of sugar in it. And so I really like that.
The Clean Simple Eats protein that they put in?
I don't know.
Oh,
I didn't ask. That's a good question though.
I feel like I've seen it on their signs, but I don't actually remember. I know I like their protein, but I wasn't sure. All right. Well, thank you for answering that question.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have not asked any information about your story.
Mm-hmm.
She has said that hers is how she became a nun. So,
Yeah.
Melissa, I'm going to let you just like tell about yourself or just start telling your story of that. And I am like so
Okay.
naive to anything that has to do with this. So if I ask questions that are
Yeah.
like, thought you would have known that, I don't know
No,
anything.
it's okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So I grew up Catholic, like born and raised. And I grew up here, born and raised. But like my family's not like super like holy roller, like anything. Like they're just very like it was just very like basic. Just go to church 1 hour a week and call it good.
mm-hmm.
And so I just had like a big like aha moment when I was 19 that like I wanted to live more intentionally as a Catholic, and I wanted to just like give my whole life to God.
What do you
And
think made you get to that point?
um
Because had you been that way at all, like your teenage years?
no,
Okay.
no. I was actually pretty like off the rails. Like I was just kind of like
Living
a
life.
rebel. And yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I went to like youth group and stuff, and we did like I did all the things that you do to like check off the box. But I was like just kind of like there for the social aspect and the guys, or it's just like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I mean, and we were really naughty too, even like my youth group. And we had like good camaraderie though. Like a lot of us were like really good friends outside of like church stuff. But like we never talked about God. Like we were very like good, just like Catholics on the outside, I guess you could I don't even not even
Yeah.
that. I don't even think on the outside. So I was like really into like punk rock and skateboarding and just like I don't know, anything having to do with that was my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I went to Warp Tour when I was 14.
Good old Warp Tour,
It just
man.
like I did all the things, and
Mm-hmm.
I loved music. So actually that's kind of like how, so because when I went to college, I was like I played guitar and I sang. And so when I went to college,
Mm-hmm.
they have a radio station, and it's like a Christian alternative radio station.
Okay.
And I at first, so like I I was just still kind of like um going through the motions. And the people that I like rented a room out from were like, they were Catholic, and so they were just like, "Oh, you're gonna go to church, right?" And I was just like, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But then I actually got involved in like the music at church too. Um, and then I was like listening to this radio station, and I was like, this is actually really good music. Like this is really like fun, and it's like not swearing. And so I was
Good
like, that's kind
messages,
of that's
uplifting.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, what's this about? And then I met like a group of really cool, like just like non-denominational Christians that were like just so awesome, like my people. And they started asking me a lot of stuff about like my own faith. And so from then on, I was like, yeah, like I actually think I'm kind of believing all this stuff that like I about my church. Um, and then I ended up transferring to a school on the East Coast, called Franciscan University of
Okay.
Steubenville, Ohio.
Never heard of it.
Um, yeah, not a lot of people here have. And my
Uh-huh.
parents were like, "What are you doing?" Like, and the reason why I transferred there was because, so like after my 2 years, I was like not sure where I was going to go to school. Um, and because of these friends that were like not Catholic, they were like, you should really look into like youth ministry or going to like a Bible college or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I want to go to something that's like Catholic, just because like I'm starting to like buy into like this stuff, like all of the teachings. And so, I ended up working with a youth program called Life Teen. This program was like, they were just very for the youth, and like they wanted to cater things for the young people and make things approachable for them and digestible for them, as a Catholic young person.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved like their content, that they had out. And so I actually ended up going to Georgia, in the summer as like a camp counselor. Um, and so like a youth counselor for the camp that they had, and I like didn't think they would like accept me because I was just still kind of like going through the motions. Like there were certain things like I was still like messing around with my boyfriend. It was just very, and I was really surprised. But then I got accepted, and all of the young people that I met there, because we're all college age, they were like a whole nother level of like just radical, like radical for Jesus. Like,
did you feel like an imposter kind of?
Yeah. It was hard because like I would say things just at the top of my mind, like at the top of my head. I was like, what does Jesus think about us on our period? Like I was like, how does he see us? And the girl that I said that to like almost tore my face off. She's like, oh my gosh, like, oh, how could you say that? And I was just like, and it was funny because I got along more with the boys because they were just so much more down to earth than the girls. Like the girls were very like, I don't know, they were just like, us as girls, we can be like mean girls, like you're not doing that, and
yeah, like you're kind of better than other people sometimes.
Yeah, and so, and there was one girl that there was a few that I was just like I could like hang out with, and there was a girl in the group that was actually, she was pretty sure God was calling her to enter the religious life, and I'd never met anybody who was like going that direction in life.
Does that mean like be a nun? Is that what that means? Okay.
Yeah. So she was beautiful, just like so pure of heart, and I was just like, I want that, like I want that love that she has for God. And I was just like, and she wasn't like shoved down your face, and I loved her story, like because she shared a lot about like where she came from, and she just had a good sense of humor and really authentic. And so then I was like, well, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing then, because I want to go all in. Like, I don't want to just like do things halfway. And I knew then by the end, like I had to break up with my boyfriend just because I knew it was a toxic relationship. Like it was just a lust, and we were just like stringing each other along. And, yeah. And actually it was really hard for him because we had been dating for like 2 years, and we were like, yeah, we're going to get married. And so like I broke up with him, and I still feel bad. It was just like, oh yeah, I did all these bad things to you, but like God forgives me. And it was just so messed up of me. I was like, how could you say this to somebody?
You're still like, what,
yeah.
You said you were 19 now? Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. But and I was just like, we'll still be friends, and I'll still walk alongside you in your journey. No. It's like, no, you're kidding. But yeah, so then I ended up, just kind of like taking a year off, of like dating, and just wanted to like live more intentionally. And at that point, I went to Seattle, because I was like, well, if I want to be a youth minister for the Catholic Church, I'll just go to whatever closest Catholic university there is, because in my head, I was like, they're all the same. A lot of the people from camp, a lot of them went to this school in Ohio. They were all like, no, you have to go to this school. Like, this school is like the best. You have no idea. And I was just like, I'm not going to your school. Like, it's like, sounds like a cult, whatever. Yeah. And so I ended up going to Seattle because I just wanted like experience the life, like the city life. And it was a Catholic school, but it was like super disappointing. It was very watered down. Like I thought it was going to be kind of like a camp where like all of these young people are like super on fire for God, and just like wanting to do all these like amazing things. But it was just it was like a party school.
Is it a small school?
I mean, yes, it was small. It's a liberal arts school.
Okay.
But it's like old money too, that kind of like where it's coming from. And a lot of like, I don't know about that one in particular, but so it's run by a community of priests, named the Jesuits. And they're a little more on the edge of things. They're very like fringy. It's just not, it wasn't what I expected. And it was 20% Catholic. And so at first I was like, well, I'm just like ready to go like talk about Jesus with people. And I would, and everybody was like at the school, like,
Like you were
whoa,
the
like
too
here
much
was,
person or something?
yeah, yeah. And then also like I wanted to explore the religious life while I was there because I wasn't dating anyone. And I was like, I think God wants me to be a sister. And so I would visit like religious, they're called religious communities. I would visit them in the area, and they were like all dying out. Like the sisters were super old, and they were all like, they weren't what I imagined a nun should be like like at least from the outside. Like they were all just wearing like regular clothes, and they were nice and everything, but I would still try to like live out my faith, like still like, and try to do like the cool Seattle things, like go to concerts. But then by the end of the semester, I was just like really disappointed. And somebody who transferred to the school in Ohio came to my dorm and was like, you need to go to this school. Like it's a little cheaper than this school, and you're just going to be a lot more satisfied. And he was like, there's like religious sisters everywhere at the school in Ohio, like because they're studying there too. Like everybody's going to like the services, because we have services like every day. And he's like, they have it 3 times a day, and he's like, they're like the chapel is packed with young people. And he's like, yeah, you need to go. And I was like, okay. And so I just went on a whim. I had never visited the school or anything. Yeah, I was just like, I'll do it. And my parents by then, they were like so mad. They're like, if this school isn't the one, you aren't coming back. But when I first got there, like it was true. Like there was like nuns everywhere. It was like amazing. I was like, what? This is so cool.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. And it was cute because the girl that I met at the camp, her name was Victoria. She joined the community of the sisters that I ran into on campus. And so I was like, it's a sign. Like I'm supposed to like meet or go visit them. Yeah. And they were really cute. And they'd be like, can we borrow your capo? And I'm a guitarist. And so I was like, oh, they want to borrow my capo. Like, it's just like,
what is a
like
capo?
It's like it's a part on the guitar that like holds down the strings, like where they're.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway. But yeah, so it was just like, it was just really neat.
And were they dressed in regular clothes, or were they?
No. Okay. They wear their habits, and then they have like big rosaries hanging from their belts. It was just like really cool. They just like sold out for Jesus, and they're joyful too. That was another thing that like attracted me about them, is like, and they're authentic. Like it just, I don't know. And then I was like hanging out with like seminarians. I was like, well, how does this happen? And sorry, seminarians are,
I was going to ask, I'm glad you're saying this.
Yeah. They're young men in formation to become priests.
Okay.
And like, we're just like having dance parties. Like it was just a blast. It was like, I had the best 2 years of my life there. It was like, even the partying at the school in Ohio was like, there's like joyful still, like, and you know, I mean, and we all had problems, like, you know, it's not saying that we're all perfect.
You're all regular people,
but they were, yeah, like, and it's just funny because they were regular people just like still wanting to live radically for God. And like, I remember one year, so we have something called Lent, and it's where you give up. It's 4 weeks leading up to Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
And you give something up for 40 days. And one of my friends, he gave up shoes. Like,
that is the most random thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Like, and it's snowing. It's Ohio. Okay. It's like not pretty weather.
So what was he doing? Like just walking around barefoot?
Yeah.
That is, I've never heard that.
I know. And then, I mean, we're just like real college kids, I guess, in a way. Like we had my senior year, we had like a party where we all dressed like, so in Spanish they're called cholos, like gangsters. And like we all like dressed in like like the lip liner. And because a lot of my friends were from California at the school, and so we're all like bandanas. And then, I mean, go figure, because we all have rosaries. We're all wearing rosaries because we're like, yeah, like we're just like. And then we showed up at the student union building, and they had like a ballroom dancing competition or something. And we walked in, we're like, yay, and like flashing gang signs, and they're like, are we getting jumped? Like, we're like, just like,
anyway. It sounds like a blast.
Yeah. And, but yeah, so when I left, like, I had dated somebody when I was there, because I kind of put the idea of being a sister, a nun, like, on the back burner, because it was really hard. It's really hard, like, deciding, having that, like, in the back of your mind, like, I'm studying right now, and I like, is this all a waste of time because I want to be a nun? So I did.
What were you studying? You said it was liberal arts college in Seattle, yeah. But what was?
Yeah, I ended up studying English.
Okay.
Yeah, and so even that, I was like, well, what could I do with that if I become a sister? And so like, and it was cool because being there, a lot of the kids that go to that school, not all, but a lot of them were from like really strong Catholic families. And so they were like they had sisters who were nuns. And so they could like give you an idea, like, oh, well, like it's not like you go and everything's forgotten about. Like you could go to a sister, like sisters who teach.
Will you just like briefly tell me, so like, yeah, what are all the, like, when you become a nun, like, what are all the things that you're agreeing to?
So when you become a nun, you are going to live a life of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Those are the three, they call them, well, the three vows that you make. And so poverty, meaning nothing is yours. And so like, you know, everything is in common, except for like your own things, like your toothbrush, like those kinds of like, but like just like the shoes that you wear, like they could go to somebody at like another sister if like, I don't know, it like,
and are they all living together?
Okay. Yeah, the sisters all live together in well, ideally that's like, I know there are some rules that are bent in different religious communities just because they want to emulate the vows differently. But the norm is, yeah, so they all live together. Like they don't have necessarily like a paycheck. They'll get paid for something, but it will go to the community, and the needs of the community. And
they all just use it together.
Yeah. And then obedience is, you are under like the obedience of your superior and the desires that like she thinks that God has for you. And then unless it's like contrary to what they call like the teachings of the church. So she can't just say like, I think God wants you to get married, so you need to leave, like, kind of thing. It's like daily living, or even like if you're being asked to like go to a different work, like place of work, like and so yeah, and then poverty, and then chastity, no husband, obviously, no boyfriend, no, like, it's, yeah. So
okay, thank you.
The sisters that I ended up joining were in Los Angeles, and they had well, yes, and they also had like studied there on campus. And so their presence was known there too. And they were called Carmelites. They go by Carmelites is their name, and it's the Carmelite Sisters of the Most Sacred Heart of Los Angeles. And so Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, the Carmelite Sisters of the Sacred Heart of Los Angeles. Okay. And so they so one of the sisters in particular, she just like, I mean, she was just incredible. She is incredible. And right now she's actually like their superior, because they have like in the hierarchy, I guess, if you will, the like sister on top is the mother, like, superior. So if you've ever watched Sound of Music,
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, I feel so naive, but like literally the only knowledge or
yeah,
thing I have is of Sound of Music, which I love Sound of
yeah,
Music, but I have a certain
yeah,
picture in my head of
yeah,
what a nun looks like, and that is it. Is the Sound of
yeah,
Music.
exactly. And that
Mm-hmm.
was like all I was exposed to as well growing up. Like, I'd
Mm-hmm.
never before, like, I was 19 or 20, I'd never seen a nun, like an actual one.
Yeah.
And then it was the same thing, like, because growing up, everybody was like, oh my gosh, like, that life is so hard. It's
Yeah.
so, like, depressing. And so you're just like, oh, like, I would never. So this sister in particular, she was just hilarious. And so I went through a really bad breakup when I was in college because I started dating this guy really intensely, and like, yeah, we were really toxic for each other. It was a mess. Um but when I broke up with him, I was like, it was awful. It was really bad. I just got to a place where it was just really dark, and I wasn't taking care of myself. And so the sister that I met was like, I need to, like, what's going on? Like, cause she had seen me like on campus and stuff, and we had visited, and we would go visit their convent off campus and like
Mm-hmm.
have lunch with them or just like do different things with them. And she was just like, and I know it was sincere. She would say like, yeah, you have a Carmelite heart. Like, I see it. And so it's just like, oh, cool. Like, I don't know what that means, but cool. Like,
Sounds really
um,
nice.
yeah. And so she's incredible. Like I said, she to this day, she's like my spiritual mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so but when I finally went to visit them in Los Angeles, it was like 2, 3 years later, and I would date people, guys, and I just like it was always in the back of my head, like, this is where you need to go. And so the process is very rigorous. It's not like, oh, you love Jesus? Okay, great, you're in. Like,
Yeah, I'm
it's
very curious what the
very,
process is like.
yeah. And so some of it, I mean, like, you get interviewed, and it's every month. Like, I was, at least for me, and every individual's different, I think. And so I would have interviews every month with their sister, who was like in charge of young women interested.
Mm-hmm.
And they call it the vocations directress. And so we would talk on the phone. And so there would be different things that I would share. And like, am I like able to join because I did this X, Y, and Z? And she's like, oh yeah, you're fine. Like, she's like, sisters are all like, we've all had a past.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because she would say like, she was quoting a saint, but she would say like, so like, sinners who've had a past still are like, have a chance for redemption, basically. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
always like each day is new. And so yeah, and they teach, like, the sisters are in teaching, and they're in hospital work, like they work with the elderly. um and so I don't know, I just like, there was just a lot of things that I loved about them. I'm Mexican, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, the sister that started their order is Mexican. She was from Mexico. And they've been around for, I want to say, at least 90 years, if not more.
Oh
It
wow.
has to be more. No, I think it's even more, because their oldest sister, when I was there, no, it wasn't even their oldest sister. One of their original sisters that came from Mexico was still there, and she was in her 80s, but she joined when she was 15.
Mm. Oh yeah. So that is pretty old. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it was just like, and they had really cool history, like the patrimony, they call it the patrimony, in the community. Like, they would still carry over like things from Mexico that I really valued. Like, they would sing certain songs in like from the Mexican heritage, and it was just like
That's
really
really
cute. I was
cool.
just like,
Mm-hmm.
loved it. It was very endearing. And um yeah, but they're like also really intense. And I knew that, like, getting into it, like, I knew it was gonna be hard.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are like, they're like the Marines of nuns. Like, the Carmelites are like the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And there are Carmelite nuns that are enclosed, that they don't come out. So yeah, the Carmelites are very intense, and they stem from like one of the oldest orders too in the history of the Catholic Church. Because they stem a lot of the like spirituality from Elijah in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
in the Old Testament, and John the Baptist in the New Testament, because they use like a lot of like austere practices, like we kneel and raise our arms up in the like out,
Mm-hmm.
and pray like the Psalms, and in those ways they call them like bodily mortifications, and it's just as a way to offer up your suffering for the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was in the community, like we weren't allowed to read the news or like
Is that what you mean by like they were extra strict? Like do others, what are they called? What did you say you call them?
Practices, or
or like communities? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they can do that type of thing, but the Carmelites could not. And like what other things could they not do?
So like we just like daily living, like we couldn't like own a car, or like when I entered, I was recommended to get off of Facebook, off of social media.
Okay.
Obviously like no phone once I entered. I'm just trying to think of some of the stuff like at the top of my head. But the like community, like the sisters had like a common car that they would use. So like if we needed to go to like the grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, like a dentist appointment, we would take a car. And so we were taken care of. Like my husband jokes, he says that we were princesses. Because like actually, all things considered, like I really didn't feel like anything was lacking. Like I felt very much provided for. And it just like people would give us ice cream. Like we would get like we would get spoiled, actually. Like we would get like things that I just didn't think like we could have. Like I was like, oh, we can have this? Great. Like, yes, please. I'll have C's chocolate. I've never had this. This is delicious. But it was also like we didn't eat in between meals. So it's 3 times a day. We just eat 3 times a day, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just kind of like not really like a strict diet that we had to eat, but like there were certain things that we had to make sure we ate to take care of ourselves. So to this day, eating scrambled eggs is really hard for me because we had
to eat them like every day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we were the ones who cooked it. Like, so also in this order, I don't know if it's the same in the others, but like the youngest ones in formation. So that would be like the postulants and the novices. So the postulants were like, you're in, but you don't have like a veil. You don't have the habit. You have a uniform. And so like we would wear that every day. It was like we only had two uniforms to wear.
Rotate between.
Yeah. So there was like the one that we'd wear every day, day in and day out. And then the one that we would wear just on Sunday. So like the nicest one.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did like about this community, because they all live in like one big room and they each have their own bed. And I was like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. But this community had like individual rooms.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. And they're called cells. And the whole mentality is you go into your cell and it's like a little chapel for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go in there, you close the door and you can pray where you can be alone with God.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so naturally, there's nothing like you don't show anything, like any knickknacks out. Like one of the sisters, I'll never forget, before you even are in the convent, you're a candidate for the order, and so you can wear like regular clothes as long as they're like skirts. And this one sister, or this one candidate, she had like a little mat, like not a mat but like a floor. I'm trying to think of the name, sorry. I'm like a rug.
Oh.
It's this like cute little rug in the cell, and because we had cells when we were candidates, and there's a sister that lives down the hall from us who's our formator, so she's like our superior in a way. And so she walks by her room, and we have to have our door open always, like when we're not in there. And she walks by and she's like, "What is that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's my rug." And she's like, "We don't have rugs." She's like, "Okay."
like there was just nothing in there.
Yeah, it's just the bed. And actually the Carmelite nuns, their bed is really cool. Like they stuff their beds with hay.
Oh, really?
They sleep on hay. Yeah. I was like,
is that comfortable?
I don't know, but ours was, it was like a mattress, but it was just like very simple, and like we had a way that we were to make it, like we had a special way.
Very military like.
Yeah, and there's like prayers that you pray while you're making it too. And so yeah, and even like waking up, like we don't have an alarm clock. There would be a sister that would wake you in the morning with a bell, and she would sing a song. Like she would sing. At first I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to. But it was very like sweet. It was very like, and it's just like, it's come to prayers, sister, because we pray. So they wake up at, they have to be in the chapel by 5:20.
That is so early. I would die.
Yeah. They start like an hour in silence every day. And so they have like, we pray out of, it's called the breviary or the liturgy of the hours, which is like a universal book, if you will, Bible, like a little Bible of prayers. Like it's all of the Psalms, all of the, like they pray it all throughout the whole like year. Like the sisters, a part of their obedience is to pray that, and priests and deacons in the church all pray it. They're all supposed to pray it. So the sisters would pray it and they chant it. So it's like sung. It's really pretty, actually. It's really special. But yes, the schedule's very rigorous. Like it's like,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and actually, I think it was like 3 or 4 years into it. I was with the sisters for a total of 5 years.
Okay, and you started as a candidate, and then you went to a
postulant.
I was almost gonna say that,
okay.
But
that's okay. And then novice.
Okay.
And then temporary professed, which is by the time you're temporary professed, you're like engaged to Jesus. But I mean, different sisters would say different things. Like some of the like more like strict sisters would say you're already married to him. But you can still leave the community. Like, I mean, you can actually leave the community at any time. But it is kind of like a divorce. If you've already made your final vows 10 years later, that's when it's like, it has to get sent to Rome, and they have to like make it official that you're no longer, and that's hard. That's like, it's really hard on the sisters when somebody leaves. Like it's, and when you're like a novice or a candidate, it's not that hard. Like you're like, it's still like hurts a little bit, but you're like, you weren't really invested as much in that like relationship or whatever. And so when they're like temporary professed or final professed, it's like they shared a lot of like the heartache with us, and we experienced it too, because like we've gotten to know the sisters to an extent. We don't like, so when we're postulants and novices, we don't live necessarily in community with the professed sisters. We actually try to like keep a little bit of distance from them, just so that it doesn't like distract you from your discernment. And so you're in discernment as a like in the early formation years. You're still figuring it out and thinking like, is this for me or is this not? And so I was gonna say like 3 years into it, my physical health started kind of like playing a toll on waking up so early, I think.
Were you starting at that point to be like, do I want to do this? Or were you like, no, this is my path?
Yeah, I struggled a lot during the whole thing. I kind of like to say that I was really hard-headed because you're examining yourself so much. And it does, and actually somebody said it, and I don't know, I can't remember if she ended up like professing or not, but she was like, this is a lot like jail. It can be seen like that. Like, because you're like constantly seeing all the bad things that you did. You see every little thing, every little interaction that you have with the other girls. It's like you're making it this big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your superior who will point out your faults. Like, I noticed you do this a lot. What's that about? And you're like, what? Like, I didn't know I do that. And you're like crying. I don't know. It's just like
Hard.
And we're women. Like,
Yeah.
we're just like,
we're sensitive.
and what's hard too is there's like a lot of dying of self. We would say dying of yourself because you were a professional in the world. Like, you were like making money, and like a lot of the girls like that entered, like there are very few young women that enter like 18 or 19 like
Yeah.
back
How
in the
many
day.
were there your age when you went in?
I mean, age, there was like maybe one or two.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was all ages though. But we're from so many different backgrounds too.
Yeah.
Like so many different places. I really like all 50 states was represented at one point in that community, which I thought was
How big
really
was the
cool.
community?
They're so on the scale of things, they're not as big as the other ones. They're I want to say there's 150, maybe 200.
Okay.
So
That's
that's
pretty big.
actually like small.
Oh,
But
interesting. Sounds big to me.
yeah, it is. It can be big. Actually, I know you're not. There's not like I can't show. I have a picture of me with this.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you have pictures because I'd love to see them. I'm like, oh, you didn't have a phone, so do you have pictures? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's like all the sisters.
Oh, that looks so cool.
Yeah,
Like, it really does.
Like, I mean, they really are. They're all different. I thought they were all going to be like cookie cutter, like smile and grin and bear it. But there's some, like, there was one that she showed up the day that she entered. She showed up in a Harley Davidson.
Oh, and she had to say goodbye to her Harley Davidson.
Yeah, and she's
so sad.
She's intense too. So when you're a second year novice, that's like when you're ready to make your first first vows for the first time, and you receive the habit. So before that, you get to go and live with the sisters, the professed sisters, and like live like a professed sister. And I did two because I asked for an extension because I still wasn't sure. I would like go back and forth like a lot, and there would be times where I'd have like a mental breakdown, and I'd tell my superior, I want to go home. Like, I'm done with this. And then I would like go to the chapel, and I'm like, I think I'm okay now.
The time that you would live with them, was it like a year?
No, like 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
It was 6. So it wasn't like crazy long time, but it was long enough. And so I was able to stay with the sisters who were like in the infirmary, which is like the elderly sisters they call them the saints of the community, because they're just like living it. They're like in the bare bones. Like, I mean, they're getting old, and all of the stuff of just, I mean, it's just like you get to see the not glamorous side of being with sisters who are like, this is my life, and this is like, and I love it. And and they were fun. And like I was gonna say, the sister in the Harley Davidson, she was intense. Like, and the sisters can just share with you whatever they want. And she was the one who was like, I don't know if you're even called to be a sister. And I was like, can you say that? Like, can you really like discern that for me? She was like, I don't know if you're supposed to be a wife, because I said no to something. It sounds dumb, but it was like making burgers. I'm like, I don't know how to make burgers. I'm like
I don't do it.
I'll do the other stuff. And so she got really mad at me. She was like, I really don't even know. Like, what are you going to do if you get married and your husband wants that? What are you going to do? And I was like, have him do it?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I was just like, okay, I don't know what to say. but then there would be sisters who they were just like coddling you, I think, because they don't want to chase you away either. Like, and actually there was like one sister who was like, because so I had a religious name, and they'd be like, sister, I had a dream that you left. And I was like, oh, okay.
Thank you.
I was like, what do you want me to do about it? I don't know. But then I ended up going to the sisters like teaching, like where they taught. And it's so different. Like the life is just so different.
Are they just teaching their religion?
No, they have a school.
Oh, okay.
Like an elementary school.
So they're actually like, okay, teaching.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was fun. I mean, it was, I loved it. Like the kids, because they teach, it's kindergarten through 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only like 4. So the community has shrunk. Like they didn't have nearly as many as they used to. And so there was like 2 sisters that taught classes. Like one sister had like 5th grade, and the other one had like high school or the junior high kids or something. And they always made sure that one of the sisters was the principal of the school. And so it was cool to see like the interaction that they would have.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, little kids and nuns, like that, this is like the best combo ever.
That'd be so cute.
Yeah. And actually one of the sisters that I was in, so like when you join, there's sisters that are like a year ahead of you or 2 years ahead of you. And so you know them, you live in community with them for years. Like you've known them, and we know everything about each other, like our families, our little quirks. And so you just grow, like the bond that you have with them is so close. And so that's also what makes it painful when it's time to leave. Like when you've discerned, like, I'm not called to this, I'm not called here or whatever. And so, yeah, so like when it was time for me to leave, it was really hard because I knew at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm not supposed to do this. And actually the way that it happened was not on my own. Because at that point I was ready to make my vows. I had written, cause you write a letter of intent. Like this is like, God is asking me to make my vows. And at that point, the sister the mother at the time, because they change out mother generals. They call them mother general, like the mother superior. And so the mother at the time, she would like stop me, and she'd be like, and she like look me square in the eye and be like, you can't play with God. And I'm like, like, what am I doing? Like, and so then I'd get all like sad. I'm like, am I like living a lie here?
Yeah.
But then when I like wrote my letter of intent, the sister that I was supposed to meet for an interview, they interview you. I met with her, and she's like a well-known sister. And I won't say her name because she's really well known. She has like an amazing story. And she'd known this sister since she was like 10. And her story is just, and she speaks all over the world, or she used to. She's getting older now, but she can't do it that much anymore. And she just has some of those like, because you're dealing with you can deal with Hollywood people there too in the religious orders. Like there's in California and Los Angeles. I mean, like Bob Hope was a donor of the sister, like for the sisters. And I mean, just all of these, like Bing Crosby. Is it Bing Crosby?
Yeah, that's
just like and then actually the one who was in Julie Andrews, like she's friends with the sisters.
Oh,
yeah,
well, that doesn't surprise me.
So you're like rubbing elbows because you're in that scene kind of in a way.
Yeah.
But she knows a lot of them, and they've like sent her to go talk to them because she's just very likable. But when I met her, I met her in the wrong place. And so I was running late. I was like, oh crap, like this isn't the house. But anyway, so I was supposed to meet her, and I didn't remember where it was, and I went to the wrong place. And then I finally got there like 30 minutes late or something. And she was like, who are you kidding? She's like, you've been here for how long? And you don't know where we're supposed to meet? And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, sorry. Like,
yeah.
What? And so she goes, you need to wake up. Like, you need to wake up. And I was like, okay. And so then it wasn't that long after I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this. Like, I
Was that
think
a
I need
hard
to leave.
decision, like emotionally? Or was it pretty
At,
easy to decide that?
at that point, it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but what was hard about it was like we had, they call them novice directors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one that's like an assistant. And the assistant was like the one who was like, when you make your first vows, you are married to Jesus. That's it. And she was very like, she's amazing too, and she's elderly. She's like now in her 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And just like a living saint, just like beautiful. Like she would offer spiritual direction to women about like their lives, and just sit and like, she's just so wise.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard because she would tell me, she's like, you're going to be my replacement. Like, you're going to replace me. And she had already told me that I was going to have her habit, like one of her habits.
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote me like this long letter of like how she thought it was like the devil trying to keep me away from not
really?
like from eating. And I know she meant well. And she was like, I think you're in spiritual desolation. I don't think you're doing the right thing. And actually, when I ended up going back to visit the sisters, I already got married. I had my first child. She still couldn't like look me in the eye.
Oh, really? That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get it, because you're like emotionally invested in these people. And actually when I went back, some of the sisters were just so different with me. And I get like, I understand like you don't want to be real in a way, because you're like, we had this relationship and you decided to leave, and so you're
Yeah.
nobody to me, kind of. Like, it was
Mm-hmm.
so hard. It was
Yeah.
really, it was like one of my sisters. So there was a sister who, her and I looked a lot alike, and we were close in age. Um, and when I went back, I was like, hey, like, oh, sister. And she was just like, hello. And I was like, okay, hi.
Like, when you
I
say you
don't know.
went back, was it just to visit? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would go back. I've gone back. I think it was, yeah, I've only been back once to,
Mm-hmm.
because you can go back and visit anytime. Like, you can arrange, to go see the sisters. You can write to them. They just won't respond like necessarily. Yeah, because like we wouldn't do emails. And
Yeah.
we were only given like a limit of like 10 letters a year, and it was only for Christmas.
Like
We could
total?
send a Christmas. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we could call our family once a month for an hour. So we would call it a visit.
Mm-hmm.
Or if your family was nearby, they could come visit you for an hour once a month. No, so yeah, it's once a month we would call, and then once a month visit. And
Mm-hmm.
if our family was from out of state, they could come visit for a total of 3 days.
Okay, yeah, that's
Like,
interesting. Where would they stay when they would come? Just somewhere else, and then they just come in and visit? Is that?
it depends on where you lived, but the novices and postulants lived in, they call it the mother house. And so that's where like the mother superior lives. And then she has like a council of sisters. And so some of them would live there too. And they just help like decide like big things for the community on
Mm-hmm.
like different issues and stuff. So they have a retreat house. And so it's kind of like a little hotel kind of. Um, and actually it's a really beautiful place. Like, it's very peaceful. There's just like a lot of like they have gardens and like fountains, and it's just very like, a lot of people go there to pray and to just try to figure out things. And
Mm-hmm.
so our family could go there and stay if they wanted to.
Did your family ever come visit you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
My parents had dropped me off when I entered. And when
Mm-hmm.
you enter as like a postulant, like, so you chop off your hair because you can't have long hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it like bob, or is it like
Yeah.
pixie cut short?
Well, that was actually funny because like, so it had to be like up to here.
Uh-huh.
But then they changed that. They decided to just let the sisters, like the postulants, have like longer hair. because it looked hideous. Like, we looked awful. Like, some of us cannot have a bob. Like, it was just.
Were you one of those people, or?
Because I had like really thick hair, and so we would try to like put it back with like a bobby pin, and we can't use like hairspray or can't like flat iron your hair.
Yeah.
Because, well, on a practical level, you have to get we would only have 20 minutes to get ready in the morning.
Well, when you have to be there by what'd you say, 5:20?
Yeah. So yeah,
that's not.
And they would and they would purposely wake us up. We would wake up at like 4:55.
Yeah. What time did you go to bed?
That was nice though. I liked that. It was like 9. It was a good time.
Yeah, that is. I'm curious what the whole like schedule from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. What are you doing in that time?
So like our friends would think we're just praying all day, but we're not. We're working hard. It's a hard. I mean, a lot of cleaning. Some of the sisters would work in the kitchen because we have like a commercial kitchen. So yeah, so like we would wake up, we would have prayers. We would pray 3 times a day.
Oh, okay.
So it's like morning. So it's morning prayer, and then noon we'd have a spiritual practice, and then evening prayer, and then night prayer. And then we would have an hour. Was it an hour? Yeah, an hour meditation in the morning in silence, and an hour meditation in the afternoon in silence.
Was that in your room, or was that all together?
No, we'd had to pray all in community. Yeah. Yeah. Like that was like one of the big things like that I really appreciated about the sisters, because there are communities where they can just do things like on their own. But like that sense of community is so important. And so that and even like eating meals too, like you need to eat your meals together. And we would eat our meals in silence, except for lunch. I can't remember why lunch was the exception, but, and we would only eat for I think it was 30 minutes. We only had 30 minutes to eat. Yeah. So it was really fast. You'd have to eat
when
fast.
are you mostly getting to know these sisters? Is it like when you're cleaning and making, like preparing food and stuff like that? Or when are you getting to know everybody?
Yeah. So after dinner and like cleanup, we would have an hour of what's called recreation. And so you would like get together and hang out, I guess. And we would like do things like play. Yeah, we like play a game. We would like, a lot of us, the younger sisters, like there was a couple of like us that were musicians, and so we'd play like music. But it was like all together, like we'd go on walks. A lot of the younger sisters were like, I mean, we're still young, and so exercise was really important to us, and so we would like play games. So we really liked playing ultimate frisbee, and so we'd play that together. It's fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Was there anything that you like missed while you were doing it the most?
Honestly, I was surprised that I missed my family the most, because I just like, my mom had always said like, I'm not surprised that you want this life, because you have always just done your own thing. So like, definitely just like, I missed my parents a lot. Like it was really hard for me. Like, and I have a very dysfunctional family. Like I love them, but we're like not like, compared to the other sisters, I'm like, oh man, I was like, that was not normal in my family. Like, okay. Like, okay. But, so I missed that. I mean, honestly, besides that, I feel like that was it. But towards the end, there were certain things, like, I just remember, there would be certain things that I, like, missed about being with, the opposite sex. Like, because the sisters have to be very, like, reserved. And these sisters are very, like, they will give each other, like, little side hugs. Like, there are actually some communities that don't even give each other hugs. Like, they're just, like, waves.
Really?
Like, but these sisters are very, like, affectionate. Like, they're just, like, hug each other and just, like, And so like we couldn't hug. We couldn't hug unless it was our dad or our brother. Like we couldn't hug anyone from the opposite sex. And so that was weird for me.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of watching TV in a way. I miss like we wouldn't we would watch movies sometimes for like recreation. Or like extended like
Mm-hmm.
on Sundays it was a little the schedule was a little more collapsed, like a little more relaxed. So I missed music. I miss like listening to like
Yeah.
punk rock and like I missed music so bad and reading the newspaper. Those were like the things. But it is like easy to just redirect yourself like, okay. It's like I'm doing it for God. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. We're
Yeah.
gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm like,
yeah.
and back then there wasn't like phones and social media or anything like that, but I still feel like, yeah, I would miss a lot of things, I think.
Yeah. Actually one time I remember, because like I had a phone and stuff. And I remember I
Yeah.
was like, we were out in the shed, like putting stuff away or something. And I like thought I felt my, like, I thought I had a phone in my pocket and it was vibrating. It was like a phantom vibrate in my
Oh, that's weird.
pocket. I was like, oh, that was
You
weird.
wanted that phone.
I forgot. I don't have a phone.
Did you go to reach for it
Like,
and then you're like, wait a second?
yeah. I was like, that was weird. Well,
That's
and
so
they
funny.
use the older sisters, like, or the profess sisters back then. Now it's different, but they use pagers.
Oh, yeah, that's a flashback. Oh my goodness.
And so we would joke, like, because there was some, I loved, like, some of the sisters were so down to earth. They'd be like,
Oh,
what is a drug dealer and a nun have in common? That they use pagers. Haha. Like, just like funny stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know. I remember, like, some of the sisters, like, oh my gosh. Well, and there would be things that we would do. So saying like a lot, our superior would correct us on it.
oh,
Did
really?
you go, what do you mean? What? Like try to get us out of the habit of saying like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned like etiquette things, like how to properly set the table, how to eat with a knife and fork, how to have the napkin in your lap, like all of those things that
You're
it's
very
like,
proper.
yeah. And we wouldn't cross our legs. Like the sisters, this community does not cross their legs.
That would be so hard for
They
me.
just, and it, oh yes, oh yes. It's just like, we would call it ironing out all these things that you learn in the world. And even the way we would walk too. We couldn't move our hands, like walk like a, one of the
Like, what?
sisters would say,
What are you saying? One of the sisters,
would
what?
say, she would say we walk like robots. She's like, you're walking so robotic. What is that? And because the sisters, this community, I think the Carmelites in general, they try to have their hands inside. They call it the scapular. It's like it looks kind of like a long apron.
Mm-hmm.
And so you always have your hands inside there to remind you, to always like remind you of, they called it a spirit of recollection. And so that you're always trying to center yourself on God and
Mm-hmm.
focus on him. And so the older sister, the one who was 90, she would say like, everybody's just walking like a robot right now. You need to be recollected. And we're like, okay, sorry.
Well, that's interesting. There's so many things that I
Yeah.
like would never think of. I did want
Yeah.
one clarification.
Mhm.
Or I guess I probably asked a question and sidetracked you. So when you first decided to join after that toxic like breakup, was it the lady that you said was like really awesome? Did she kind of convince you to go to LA and join then?
Um, Not necessarily. I mean, it was just like, I think it was just accumulation of different things. Like me thinking that like all of these guys that I'm meeting, they're just not Jesus. Like I just
Yeah.
need to be with him. And I don't know, I never saw myself as a wife or a mother. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but now, like looking back now, I'm like, you know what? I think for me anyway, like I wanted to like live my life so radically for God that I was like, this is the only way I can do it. This is like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think to me, that's why I needed to do it. And now that I've like met my husband and we've been married for 8 years. And so it's been actually 10 years since I've left the community. This year, it'll be 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm just like, I feel in my deepest hearts of hearts, my intentions were pure. My intentions were there. And it's better to do it that way than to get married. And then, because once you're married, you're not like, I think I was supposed to be a nun. I picked the wrong book. Like, this
Yeah.
is it. I can't divorce my husband now.
Is your husband from here?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
no, he's from Mexico originally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And actually, when I met him, I left him in September of 2015. No. Yes, 2015. And I met him like 3 months later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And when I think it was like our second date, he goes, I had this, like, he just shared that he had felt a time when he was discerning whether God was calling him to be a priest or he thought God was calling him to be a single person just working in the church, because he like wasn't able to meet a lot of people, a lot of women, because we're older in the sense that I'm 40 and he's 41. And so he was like in his 30s. He wasn't meeting anybody here.
Yeah.
And so he thought, he goes, you know what? I think I'm supposed to be single. And he was like in deep prayer about it. And he said in like his mind, he saw a nun. And he was like, I'm
That's
supposed
sweet.
to marry her. Like, he just had this, like, he was like, I think God is calling me to marry. And he's like, that's weird though. Like, I can't marry a nun. When I left, it was really hard leaving. It's pretty close to somebody close to you dying. Like, because
Yeah, no,
you
I
don't
feel like
know.
the grieving would be hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I left, I came back, and then I naturally like I went to church because I was still trying to like keep up with certain practices. And it was hard because like the people in my community like knew me as the one who was like the nun, or the going to be the nun. And one of my friends that was there, she didn't know, because I didn't have like my phone. It was just so different. Like, I didn't have a phone. I didn't have anything. I had like 4 outfits, because you are asked.
Yeah,
to
was the
keep
transition back to life, was that a weird transition?
Yeah. When you enter, you have what's called your dowry. And I think it was like $300 at the time, or maybe more. I can't remember. And so you're actually given your dowry back, like when you leave, so that you have some money to like help you get started in whatever. And this is what I love about these sisters. They're very practical. Like, it's not like, I don't know, everything needs to make sense. And it's always like, I don't know, it was very beautiful actually leaving, because when you leave, you and it's like my heart jumps every time that would happen. They would say, Sister Mary needs to talk after dinner with us, and we would all know, like, she's leaving. Like, we would know. And then you would get time to like say goodbye to them. So while I was there, I grew very close with one of the sisters, and she was also my twin. She was like, we would call each other twin. And she like worked in Hollywood. Like, her story was like crazy. Like, she worked in Hollywood, in film, and then entered, like, it's just, her story is very beautiful. And so she was like, I need to talk to you after. And I was like, okay, she's going to give it to me hard. Because then I had the older sister saying like, I don't think it's God's will for you.
Yeah.
And she was just like so authentic. Like, we're going to be friends for life. Like, she was just like, don't go back to the old man. Like, you just keep running and just keep like your eyes on God. Like, she was just so like beautiful about it. But it was hard. She was like crying. And yeah, like, you cry. Like, it's hard.
I imagine.
Yeah. And I was like crying in the airport. Like, they all left me, like, because we're all about notes, like about sentimental things. And so they had a card for me, and like, it's just like I'm sure people in the airport, they're like, what's up with that girl? Like, it's her problem.
Oh no.
But, I mean, and it's such a culture shock too.
Yeah.
because you've lost 5 years or 4, I guess. For me, it was 4 or 5. You're like in the convent, like you don't know anything. You know very little about
Mm-hmm.
what you missed. Like everything is like, it's just, I don't know. It's like, I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it.
No, I get it. Like thrown back in.
Yeah,
No.
you
Yeah.
are. Yeah. Well, and then I just felt like abandoned by my family because, I thought they were like my family.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like, it's just different. Like and there actually is like a support group, for those who end up leaving. And so they can give you like help on like making a resume or, like just help you in different things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's really nice.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you telling me this story. I don't know if there's anything
Yeah.
else that you're like wanting to add to it, but it's very interesting. Like I said, I like know nothing, so all of this is just like so interesting to me.
I mean, I love them. Like I try to stay in touch as much as I can. Like, as I know that they can't write to me every hour, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
They only get 10 letters and a phone
Yeah,
call.
the 10.
So
Well, and actually, the sister that I grew really close with, she goes, "I wrote to you. We only get 10 letters, and you didn't write back." I was like, "You're right." I didn't even, I forgot.
Yeah.
And she has a big family too. She has like,
And she used one of her letters for you.
yes, and that's what
Yeah.
she told. She's like, and so actually, I'm friends with her sister on Facebook, and I was like, "Can you tell her I'm sorry?" I didn't tell her sorry when I saw her, but yeah. So yeah, and one day I hope, like, and actually we actually talk about this. One day I hope, like, to take my daughter there to meet them,
Yeah, that would be really
'cause
cool.
they do like mother-daughter retreats, and it's just really neat. Like, so they help the sisters and like do different things. So one day I hope I can, take her and at least have her meet the nuns.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of full circle. That'd be cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah.
Well, if you're
Well,
able,
thank
are
you
you
so
able
much.
to send me like that picture? I want to see it a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have like
And
any pictures? I'd love to see them.
Actually, you're good. You're good. I have my driver's license from California of me and my,
With your haircut?
no, I
Oh.
didn't. I'm glad that one didn't make it. But
Oh.
I was in my veil because when you get your
Okay.
sister name, as a novice, you get your sister name.
Is the sister name like a sacred name that you don't talk about?
No, so you get to pick 3 names, like 3, they're based off of saints, in the church. And so, or like Mary, a lot of their sisters that have like a name based like off of Mary.
Mm-hmm.
But in this community, you pick 3, sister names, like 3 religious names, they call it. And they need to be based on like a saint or a person in the Bible.
Okay.
Like a lot of the times in the New Testament, it can't be like the Old Testament, like Melchizedek or something like weird. But so you get 3 name ideas, and then the Mother Superior will decide she'll either pick out of those 3 or she'll pick her own.
Okay. Did they pick one of yours?
No, she didn't. She made it up. It was actually really cool. Like she did a good job. Like and it's hard though, because what happens is you're like in front of the sisters, like they're all in the chapel, and then the Mother Superior will call you up, and she's like, from this day forth, your name will be, and then she'll tell you your name. And then there's a sister who takes pictures of everything. She's like the photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could see the reactions of some of the sisters, like, and some of them were like, what?
Uh-huh.
What is my name? Like, what is that? Like, but yeah, so my sister name was Sister Luisa Graciela.
Oh, that's
so
pretty.
It's like Luisa Graciela. And yeah, it was, yeah. And so we would, and then we also have like a title, which is kind of like our last name in a way. So it would be of Jesus or of Mary or of like a devotion. So like mine was of the Holy Eucharist. And so we just like pick different, and she would also pick like what title she wanted you to have too. So
okay, yeah, that's interesting things I never knew. Well, thank you for sharing your story with me and
yeah,
everyone that's going to listen to this. So
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
I really enjoyed that interview with Melissa. I know I said it in the episode, but I really knew nothing other than what The Sound of Music shows me of what it is like to be a nun. So that was really interesting to me. I did ask some clarifying questions afterwards just because I still felt, there was a lot there and I still felt a little bit confused on some of it. And so one thing I asked, because I didn't quite understand how she started the process to become a nun, and she said that she emailed the sisters at first, and then she realized that she knew one of the sisters from college, and so that was helpful to have that connection. But that's kind of how she got in touch with them to become a member of the community. And then I also know that I asked in the episode what the daily schedule was like, but I still went on to ChatGPT and just asked it to tell me what is the day of a Carmelite nun look like. And it did walk me through all the different times of day, including waking up at 5 a.m. to be there by 5. Well, it says on here 5:30, but Melissa had said 5:20. So, early to be there for your first silent meditation and prayer. But afterwards, I just asked for a paraphrased version, and it says, a Carmelite nun's day is centered on prayer, silence, and simple work. She usually wakes up around 5 a.m. for quiet meditation and morning prayers, followed by daily mass. The rest of the day is a rhythm of work like gardening, cleaning, or making altar bread, which we didn't talk about that, so I'm not sure what that is. Balanced with more prayer, spiritual reading, and time spent in silence. Meals are simple and often eaten quietly, like she said, and there's a short window for recreation with the other sisters. By 8 p.m., they're back in silence for the night. It's a life of deep devotion and peaceful routine lived entirely within the walls of the monastery. So that's what ChatGPT told me. So, and it did sound like it was fairly accurate based on what Melissa had said in the interview. Also, Melissa did tell me afterwards as well that she wanted to mention that the sisters do get to take breaks. She said they go on vacation for a week once a year. They have a day off once a week to let their schedule collapse a bit and go do fun things. They also have a yearly silent retreat for 8 days. And most of the days we were in silence all day except for lunch and evening recreation. If it's a special day like Easter or Christmas or other days like July 4th, we can talk and listen to music during work periods. So just a little bit more information about the life of a nun. She also did send me pictures. I know in the episode she had showed me a picture of all the sisters, and it really did look so cool. But she did not send me that picture to show everybody. But she did send pictures of herself, so I will have those on my social media page at Sippin' on Stories Podcast on Instagram. So if you're curious, you can go and look there. Speaking of social media, if you are not following me on social media, on Instagram at least, go over there, give me a follow, and interact with me over there. I always love it. I'm going to put another plug in for sharing your own story. If you're on the Instagram page, you can see a highlight where I have a spot where you can submit a story that way. You can also email me at sippinonstoriespodcast@gmail.com. Or you can also just send me a DM on Instagram, and that works too. And I would love to hear your story. So, talking about this with Melissa really did make me want to go listen to my Sound of Music CD and watch The Sound of Music. It is so good, and I love it. So that's what I'm planning to do in the upcoming week. I hope that you have a wonderful 4th of July, and I will see you here again next week for another episode of the Sippin' on Stories podcast. Goodbye.